I
Turn it back on if you
know. I know. Since I come home and I'm just like, call me so I can't.
That's okay. I'm still on the beach. Oh, that's right. I'm still sweating that stuff out. Last night about 2 a.m. Gonna drive all the way down to Mason County, pick up my dog, and drive home. Yes, it was a non-stop flight. Boom, that quick. Yeah, non-stop flight to Cancun. Yeah, it cost me $400, and had an upgrade, first class upgrade for another $200. Yeah, stayed at the Hilton down there. It was amazing. And customs was a breeze. I couldn't believe it. Walked through, put my passport on the scanner, went into this glass door, opened into this like phone booth. Yeah, set diplomatic passport, you see. And then they did a bioscan of my pupils, and on my way. I guess. Right, so you get. Well, I used to do that, but then I got thrown against the wall down in the Bahamas, so I figured, I better roll with the program. He gave me a choice, either submit or get the full body cavity. So I was like, well, thank you very much. Say again? No, I haven't heard from him. We are live, by the way.
I'm gonna scoot down just one all crank.
Clark?
Sure.
Okay. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so we're bringing the meeting to order. So let's welcome everyone. We've got a quorum, so let's say the Pledge of Allegiance and we'll get started. Get everybody out here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone. Thank you very much for coming. Short notice meeting. Is there any public comment before we get started? Anybody have anything to say just in general? No? Okay, well then let's just get right to it.
I have something to say.
Yes, sir. What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Darren Cole.
Nice to meet you, Darren. Mitch Townsend.
Good to meet you. 8th graders. I coach baseball. They coach basketball. And if we don't have 8th graders come up and play, we don't have a team.
Right.
I had 11 kids last year that finished the season in baseball.
That's the high school team?
Yep.
Okay.
And these guys, they need kids to play JV games. I mean, most schools have C squad teams. And you shouldn't have 5 guys on the bench for a JV game. I mean, it should be 10 and 10 is a good number. And I think it should be at a coach's discretion. If he knows that he needs 8th graders to step up, it shouldn't be an administration thing. It should be a school board thing that you guys could vote on and change that. But I think it's a big deal.
So let me be clear. You're advocating that if you need players to move up to the upper levels from the junior high, then that should be a policy from the board and specifically driven by the coaches. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for this gentleman? Shad?
No, but one thing that would be helpful would be if we could just set the framework of what it is we're discussing, what the issue is at hand. I mean, I have just a very vague idea,
Sure.
and I'd like to understand so that everybody's on the same page. What's our foundation?
What's our parameters?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Mark, would you like to break that down for us? What the policy is, what its intent is, and what the superintendent's position on that? And I don't see the athletic director, so you might give us a few words on what his position was. We had this conversation on Friday. So if you'd like to reiterate that for Shad and the rest of the members of the community and coaches.
If I get it right, based on what you're saying and what you're asking, based on what you were saying, WIAA allows 8th grade participation. And Mitch asked me to pull this up. I can drive it sideways. And here is the guidelines straight from WIAA to go with the allowance of that. So if Mitch is asking, or he's asking me, that's the flow chart that WIAA allows or provides as part of their what they allow. You can't see it all, but I can scroll when you need me to. Beyond that, we have a handbook policy that we do not play eighth graders unless we have to have them for to fill a team,
Mhm.
to be able to put a team on there.
Presumably there's a trickle down as well. So if you're moving eighth graders up, then part of that discussion is also whether or not it's a fifth or sixth grade can move. Sixth can move up.
I don't know what just happened, but let me see.
Say, give us just 1 second, and then absolutely, we're all here to communicate.
As soon as you hit the details right there, it should pop up.
Yeah, I don't know why I lost it. We are still live, so just you guys can see it all. Let's see if I can get that back up there. Are those the things you wanted me to?
Really, what I'd like to know, and we discussed this on Friday, is I want to be clear about what the Athletic Association allows us to do and why. And I also want to be clear what the intent of it is. And then we can talk about what our philosophy is. Is our philosophy, well, I'll just describe it in 3 ways. Are we building the teams that we need to excel at the high school level? Are we using our middle school and grade school teams as talent development implements and moving the exceptionally gifted athletes and giving them an equal opportunity to compete for a higher position? Or are we going to limit that and say, no, we don't want any of our students moving up for a variety of reasons? So there's the 2 philosophical positions there. And the other one is athletic policy driven by coaches whom we hired to do this job and to develop the talent acquisition and maturing program that they see fit in order to create the athletes that we need as they move through the program. Or are we top down? Is the school board or the superintendent or the athletic director driving that discussion? And where is the sweet spot? What is the compromise there? If we have 2 or 3 different positions, how do we do what's best for the schools, the students, and the athletic teams? So that's kind of why we're here. We're trying to understand as a board what the administration's position is, what the coach's position is, what the regulation is, and the intent of that. And if anybody has some comments on what are the other schools doing, or as far as that discussion, are they using this talent program or development program and bringing these kids up to give them an opportunity to compete at the higher levels? Or are they holding these kids down in order to flesh out these teams based on the numbers? And so it's become an increasingly important discussion over the last couple of weeks. And so that's kind of where we're at. We'll try to move through this fairly quickly. And so my understanding is, and you correct me, that the Athletic Association allows specifically Mossy Rock to implement this moving up program if the numbers warranted. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other questions about what we're trying to do? Shad, you kind of understand where we're at?
That helps. Thank you. So
Okay.
really, it sounds like we're trying to make a decision, or we're looking at whether or not the school board should implement a policy related to who makes the decision.
Yes, and the intent of what we see here, the intent is to provide enough kids to fill these
Right.
programs.
Yeah.
And historically, what have we been doing?
Well, that's part of my confusion. Is why we're even here tonight. We're doing nothing different than we did last year. did the same thing last year in terms of if we're talking about basketball. WIA allows it at the end of the 8th grade season. They can move up and they have 10 games on the balance that they can play with the varsity. And we were trying to make the concession of allowing them to sit at least three other games. They only have 15 JV games on the schedule. So they only need 15 or 16 games. That's where we are. We're with that from the school standpoint. So it's not, nobody has ever said to anybody that we couldn't use them. It's there, it's allowable, but so yeah, it's the same process that we had used last year.
Go ahead.
There's a reason why we're having this, because it's been pulling teeth trying to get, I mean, I know Nick's asked a while ago for it and he never got a decision. And that's why we should have a policy, 156 or under, we should be allowed to bring 8th graders up no matter what. And we're way under that. But
Okay.
it's,
regardless of the number of participation, is what you're saying?
yeah.
No.
Yes.
Oh, yes. If you're under the 156.
Under 156,
Yes.
regardless of participation numbers.
Yep.
Yeah.
If
We're in the-
now, so
we're-
now
we're
we're thinking
in
about
the-
competitiveness.
In this flow chart, we're
Right.
on the green side. I can't
And
drive it very well.
So go ahead.
at the high school level, I feel like
Does
that's-
everybody know Kelly Ross?
Yes.
Okay.
So at the high school level, I feel like we want to win games. Like that's builds a successful program. Just having kids turn out so your participation numbers are high doesn't mean you're going to win games. That's where I feel like Nick's coming from. He just shouldn't have to have under 16 players turn out for girls basketball if you have to have 8th graders that are better. Last year, that was the situation. We had more than enough kids turn out for boys basketball. So we were above the participation number, but we wanted to be more competitive. And we had an 8th grader that was capable of being competitive at the varsity level. So we were allowed to bring him up. Now we offered it to all 8th graders. We said, any of you guys who want to come play high school basketball, come on. Only one person. Well, we had 2 kids turn out for the first week of practice. Then the other kid said, yeah, I'm not ready for this. He made that choice with his parents and us. We had the conversation.
Did your 8th grader play any of his junior high season?
No.
Is that the question that Nick asked the AD that he hasn't gotten the answer to since the first week of September?
I defer to Nick on that.
No, Mark, I have spoke with you directly.
State the question you're asking exactly.
Nick asked the AD that specific question. At the beginning of September, I'll say the first week in September, he approached him in person and had a discussion regarding wanting to be a little bit more proactive with our program and to communicate in advance to the student, to the athletes, and the parents to give them a choice. Nick knows what we've done in the past. He also knows what we did with our 8th grade last year. So the options being you can play your junior high season all at the junior high level. The second one being you can play your 10 games at junior high and go up for your remaining 10 because you have 20 total that you can play. And then the third one that Nick was asking was forego their junior high season and play all of their games at the high school level, but wanting to get all that information out in advance so that they can make a decision. And what was he told?
That is what we discussed when we had a conversation. Yes.
Okay, but he asked that question in the 1st of September. Does he have an answer today?
No.
No, he doesn't have an answer today, which is why we're here. On the heels of that, the middle school coach wanted to be proactive in communication as well. Because if you, in fact, pull up the 8th graders, you don't know numbers, right? So I understand having to wait and see, even though we qualify, nobody being able, the AD not giving any direct answer or direction or a final answer, nobody's done anything. So no meetings have been had. So no 8th graders have been talked to, no parents have been talked to, no 6th grade parents have been talked to. So if you have the discussion, you find out where you are with 8th grade, you then know whether or not you need to pull up 6th grade. Well, what starts tomorrow evening?
Junior high basketball.
Yeah.
That's what you're asking.
So has everybody been communicated with and everybody knows the final answer?
I would say they don't know the final answer. I would not say they hadn't been communicated with. there was a good bit of communication, maybe not as to a final, because that got put on hold for these proceedings.
No,
a week
nothing,
ago.
the board did put nothing on hold. The board did nothing.
I didn't say
On
the
hold.
board, I
This-
said
this
per these
what-
proceedings.
Okay,
I was prepared to give an answer a week ago, but I knew we had these things, so I held off on that piece.
so
for
what's the
myself.
school's answer?
Well, we are of the nature and mindset that they should play their 8th grade season. That's
So last year, the boys, the one boy didn't have to, but the girls are going to this year because why?
well, we want the 8th grade team to be able to play their season.
Why wouldn't, did the 8th grade team play their season last year? The boys?
Yes, everybody did.
Okay, so then why couldn't we this year?
I didn't say that they could not.
So then why can't the girls, if given the option?
Why can't the girls skip their 8th grade season?
Yes.
Why do they need to?
Why did they need to last year?
Did they do that last year?
Did the 8th grade boy do that last year?
That did come to my attention that it did happen, and that some of the things we're trying to clean up from a systemic
So
people just doing
when Nick
whatever.
asked the first week in September, how come the answer was, nope, we're not gonna allow that again? Was that the answer he was given? No,
I was going to say I'm not sure if that's
No,
what it was given at
that-
that point, but
there hasn't been any answer given still to until today. And we don't have anything in writing. Nick asked for it to be in writing after last year because he had heard, because some things didn't go smoothly with the boys last year. And he didn't want it to be an issue this year. And they wanted to be proactive in their communication to all the students so that they all had their options and could decide what they want to do. We're not making any junior high kids play up. We're not making 6th graders play up. It's simply options to build a program. And there hasn't been a clear decision or reasoning. And the other thing I asked you, I spoke directly with you, Mark, and I sent you a text as well, followed up. Very, very,
Mhm.
I would think very clear that said, if you are going to make a decision that you know Nick won't agree with, because he's been very clear and passionate about what he would like for his program. If you choose to make a decision that he doesn't agree with, he asked me as a board member what his options were because he hasn't gotten an answer. So I called you to ask because I didn't know. I don't know exactly where this falls. And one of the things he still wasn't told is if you do make a decision that he disagrees with, what his options are. And it's like, it's been conveniently pushed till now so that his options are pretty limited. So now, regardless of what we do, our communication isn't timely to parents or to students. And it looks like we don't know what we're doing and that we're not trying to build our programs and we're not working with our coaches.
So, I've got a question. Generally, I don't like to get involved in administrative business. This is something we're trying to get away from, is moving around our chain of command directly to the board. And there's a process that people should go through and push it up the chain. I think the reason that we're in this position now is because that process hasn't been clear. And I think we discussed that with the athletic director on Friday. And that is a significant problem because of the uncertainty of what we're trying to do here. And the fact that he still doesn't have an answer as far as, or has had a discussion with Nick between our meeting on Friday and today, that concerns me a little bit. Because I was pretty sure that he was fairly clear to me in his position on Friday. And so he has a meeting today. He couldn't make it, or
It's a meet.
he has a meet. Okay. Did he provide any written statement or anything? Or?
No,
Okay.
different than what we talked about the other day.
Right. So I'm hearing that this policy hasn't been equally applied or across all sports, or has been a bit spotty in its application over the last year or two. Is that a fair and accurate assessment?
I think that is a fair and accurate assessment. Ms. Ross indicated about the young man that played last year, and he said allowed, and I'm not saying he misspoke. However, that came to my attention when it was in the newspaper. I did not have anything to do with it, and we did not comply with it coming before this board to be approved. So part of my plan was to pull this among many other things systemically that we have not been in compliance with into compliance. Because if we play eighth graders, even though WIAA allows it, this board has to approve that.
Okay,
So again, then you would know that the situation is coming up. This would have been on this August meeting or September meeting. It would never make it to the October meeting, ever. We have eighth graders play up to fast pitch in baseball. We've had sixth graders. How many years have we pulled sixth graders up to junior high basketball?
I don't know the answer to that.
5 years. So this year you're not going to, I don't know, because again, I haven't heard for sure because I can't get an answer. Can't get an answer as a board member. I don't suppose I can get one as a parent. And I'm not trying, like, I don't understand how to get the answer.
Well, I have presented what I thought should be to you.
No, you didn't tell me on the phone. You just told me we had differing philosophies.
Right. And so I haven't changed on mine. I want the eighth graders to play their season. If they want to sit them for some extra games, then fine. They've got up to 13 games to play 15 JV games. That's where I am. And that hasn't changed. I espoused that to Nick when we met last Monday. That's where I am, and I have not found a reason for that to change, because I think the essence of the WIA allowing it and our own guideline and handbook allowing it is to just put enough people in play to compete. So I go back to, I don't know what's different than last year, other than we did have some guys playing that we didn't know.
I know that Nick explained to you several times, and I know he's explained to Casey, and I know Nick would know more specifically, but it doesn't matter, give or take a handful. We've canceled several JV games in the past due to not having enough kids, which is what he's trying to avoid this year. Meaning you don't have enough high school kids who have tried out in order to have a JV and a varsity team. So he was trying to avoid that this year. Again, just trying to get ahead of the game and build a program. Okay, so regardless of any of that, let's go again. If that is the decision, then why, I keep going back to, how come Nick wasn't told this is what we are doing, period. If you don't like it, this is your option. I know that has not happened. Has that happened, Nick? No. And it's October, what's today? I think it's the 14th. The first week of September. We are a month and a half later, literally. And we have a couple people who all they're trying to do are build programs, and we won't give them an answer. And parents who want to know what their options are for their kids, and I don't know.
I can only account for myself on that. A week ago, yesterday, when I talked with Nick, I told him in a couple of days I would give him an answer. That when we met, I knew where I was.
And he thought he would hear back from you that week.
And I wanted, when I was asked to have more meetings, Mitch asked to meet with me, I put it all on hold. So that's on me. I did not get back with Nick because I don't want to say one thing and have to go back and say something else.
Well, you can then get back. Okay.
That is why. There's no other anything around that. That's just where that
Okay, so
with my communication with Nick.
when the middle school coach asked if we're pulling sixth graders up and we have to wait and see isn't an answer. Wait and see for what? Like an answer is, let's see, like right now in final forms, we have 20 girls signed up. I know a lot don't show up. So after the first day, if only 15 show, then yes, we'll pull sixth graders up. That's an answer. Wait and see is what? What are we waiting and see? Like there's nothing that says how many junior high kids have to be out there in order to not pull sixth grade up. So for example, right now in final forms, there are, I think, 14 girls signed up for junior high basketball. 3 of which the coach feels like could go either way, maybe not, because they've signed up before but don't play. Okay, well, let's say you have 12 girls. 12 girls isn't enough for 2 teams. That's 6 girls on each team. It's junior high. People quit the first week. People get sick, whatever. So are you going to decide? So at what point would you decide to pull up 6th graders? Or is that not an option this year? Even not touching 8th graders. Just saying 8th graders stay the whole time. That's still your number, which isn't high. What are you doing?
Your question is, at what point would you pull up 6th grade?
Yeah, because we're going to wait and see is what the coach has been told.
At what point decide to pull up 6th graders? It would be my preference not to pull them up at all.
So-
they're not part of the secondary, they're part of the elementary school. I know they are the feeder school that WIAA allows. Developmentally, there's a huge difference between a sixth grader and an eighth grader. So if it were totally up to me and all things equal and wonderful, I would not pull them up at all.
Well, apparently this is up to you because you're making the decision on your philosophy for our eighth grade program because we're not doing what we've done for the last 5 years. So am I hearing
What
you
are we
say,
doing
am I
differently?
hearing you say that well, one, giving the coach an answer.
But what are we doing differently than last year?
We're
Because
not
I've-
allowing the eighth graders.
We
the
have
boys-
never,
the boys-
I have never said they cannot play. We just want them to do their eighth grade season and then play. I don't know how that's different than what we did last year.
It's not different for girls than what we
Okay.
did last year. It
Okay.
is different than what we chose to do for the boys. And again, trying to create a competitive program, trying to build our programs here at Monster Rock and encourage the kids and all of the things. We're not making any child play up. We're not physically putting them in a situation that they don't choose to be in or that their parents don't agree to. This is all, you're again trying to grow a program and you have the students to do that. So, and I'm not saying like we might differ on philosophies, Mark, and that's fine. I don't agree with yours. You don't agree with mine. I understand that. I guess the other thing that's a little bit confusing is the AD and what is his job. So why I guess we don't need Casey if you're going to make the decision. Like why is Casey not involved in that? Or is he making that based off of what you're telling him?
1 second, please. Okay, I think we've reached a little bit of an impasse, and that's fine. So, Nick, could you talk to us for a second? Tell us what's going on
Well,
from your perspective, sir.
well, a couple things on the sixth graders coming up. There's no number wise sixth graders for coming up. It just goes off school policy. It's not like high school where you have to, if we were over 156, then you have to be 16 or under for basketball. There's no numbers. There's just school policy on that. Yes, our elementary is a feeder school to our junior high. At least, I think 5 years, sixth graders have been able to come up in the past 5 consecutive years. They've all came up. Not every sixth grader is mature enough or as mature as other people or athletic as other people. But I mean, that's again why you have A squad versus B squad. I mean, we've had sixth graders in the past that come up as sixth graders and start on the A squad and get with eighth graders on there. Like there is athletes on there, and you get more out of junior high season than you do rec league. It's longer, it's better competition than rec league, and to get you ready for high school. It's not. The thing I don't like is it's not a one size fit all. It's not like a blanket. Not every athlete is the same, which is every aspect of life. It's the same thing. Eighth graders coming up. Like I said, boys got to do it last year. You covered that. We've had a girl about 3-4 years ago that got to come up. The 15 JV game thing. I don't even think we still have a full high school schedule. So there will be more JV games than 15. We don't have a full 20 game schedule set up yet, which is pretty late in the year to not have that, but I know he's trying to find us competitive games too, not just fill the schedule. So there will be more than 15, but every year except maybe the first year I coached, I think we've had to cancel JV games, and last year it was 4 or 5 on there. Like I said, the frustration is for those high school JV players that only play JV, for them, you make them show up every day, work just as hard as the varsity and everything else on there, and they don't get as many games in as the varsity. I mean, we went a stretch last year where they went 2 weeks without a game because we had to cancel games, and that's just how the schedule worked out. So to make them in the middle of the season when we've already been practicing for months to keep practicing, not have a game, and you don't get better by not playing games. Like practice is one thing, but I mean, you practice and turn out on a team to play a game. And then we've had teams in the past, I think it was 2 years ago, we had a JV team that we never got to play 5-on-5 one time on the JV end. Like we didn't have enough people. We stole like 3 people from the JV end that were the best JV players to come up and play against the varsity. So when we could scrimmage 5-on-5 against them to help the varsity out, well, then that leaves you with like 5 or 6 people on the JV end. Well, you can't practice your offense against defense or your out of bounds plays or your defense against the scout team offense or whatever. It's hard to make people better. I get philosophies are different, but I am not interested in being mediocre. It's not all about wins and losses, but I mean, if you don't have competitive programs you'll have less and less people turn out. You'll have more people continue to move away, and you will be, and no offense to them, but you'll be the win-lock of the league. And once you get down, it is so hard to bring your programs back up. You might not ever recover. And we play boys and girls. This is the most competitive league in the entire state. Like from top to bottom, the night in and night out games. We're the best competitive league in the whole state. We're already at a disadvantage with the low enrollment that we have compared to the other schools like Knapline, Adnan, those bigger schools. All I'm asking for, like I said, I told Mark, and I just want, we're going by the rules. We're going by the rules. We're not even in a gray area. We're full on in the WIA rules. I just asking for whatever competitive edge that we can use within the rules to be able to do that. That's all I got for now anyway.
That's very well put, Nick.
Chad, go ahead.
I thought somebody earlier said, is public comment still open? I don't know if we ever came back to it.
Yes, and I was actually going to wait until you were finished. Ask your question if you had of him, and then I was going to give these people an
I want to
opportunity.
hear everything that everybody could
Go ahead and please identify yourself.
She knows. So I volunteer a wide variety of age groups, but most recently with the 6th grade, and they're considered a community team, i.e., we don't get the gym as much as, So I think, especially some of this 6th grade class specifically, they are too good to play in the Lewis County Rec League. They really should go to Kelso if they're going to stay in a league, but it would benefit them more to get practice 5 days a week in some games rather than 8 games in the Lewis County League with maybe 2 days a week for practice. That might not even happen because the gym being down this year. Last year, we were lucky to be able to get 3, if that. Yeah. So I think for I don't know. As far as the 6th grade goes, and I know this is more about the high school, but also the junior high track. Every year, the 6th grade goes up for that sport. So
we allow that
applied evenly across the board. Might be beneficial, but mostly my main concern is gym time. When they're considered a community team, they take a back seat to, seems like most other teams, and that's frustrating. So thank you.
Shanna Garcia. I've actually coached the 6th grade group of girls for the last 3-4 years. One point that I wanted to make sure to make, and that I haven't asked the gentleman who runs the league out in Moose County, is last year there actually were no 6th grade teams, which now does mean that we're actually going to have to go down to Kelso if these girls want to play. And if we're trying to build a program here, as Nick has just described, if these 6th grade girls don't get to play, or we as parents now have to go south to play, which we're all willing to do. We have actually amazing parents in this 6th grade class. That's the only way these girls are going to play. And I recognize that's not a high school issue, but it is there are 14 amazing 6th grade girls who want to play, and maybe more that would like to go forward. And then I can't remember who said this, but as a parent of this district, you guys knew that sports were going to start actually this summer. And so if we applied that 6th graders could run cross country, which they are right now, I would like to know if this algorithm or applies to every sport. Because if it does, then I don't actually understand why we even have a question right now. 6th graders should get to play up, and that should be communicated to parents. And I learned, because I had a parent who asked me and said, I'm not even sure when junior high basketball girls practice starts. And do you know how we found out? The post that was made, I believe, maybe Sunday or Monday, you guys, to your parents. I'm sorry, that looks very poor on an awesome school district that we have. So I just wanted to share those couple of points that I'm worried about these 6th grade girls even getting to play, and then gym time, which I think the positive part of this is if we keep building Nick's idea and Carrie's, those girls are in that gym. And I can tell you as an athlete myself, man, I looked up to those next girls, and I got the drive and the love for the game, no matter what sport I played. Thank you.
Sir, do you have any comments you'd like to share? Anything else from the board before I continue on?
Yeah, I do have
Questions,
one question.
go ahead.
One comment. Can somebody play the devil's advocate and tell me, argue for not, what's the reasoning behind not allowing this to happen? I mean, and even if that's not your position, can somebody like lay out what the argument would be for not allowing sixth graders to play up and eighth graders to play up? Is there, what's the reasoning behind that side of this argument?
Last year with our boys, I can just attest to, we opened up eighth graders to play the high school. And by doing that, it allowed the boys, sixth graders, to play up junior high. Boys had never played up with junior high. Eighth grader boys have never been allowed to come up. Now, I wasn't involved in the choice because I was the assistant coach at that time. But when we allowed the eighth graders the opportunity to come up, it allowed.
Welcome. Is there any other questions from audience? Thoughts? Okay. We are still live, I assume. This meeting is a special meeting called by the board for the purposes of discussing athletic participation. Regulation and philosophy is adjourned at 8:18 p.m. on the 14th of October 2025. Thank you for coming, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.